Okay, what is this?
Oh.
A marker?
Yeah.
No, I didn't.
Okay. That's why it's better if you have coffee, orange peels, vanilla, cinnamon, stuff like that. Can you hold the other nostril, please?
Coffee. I think it's coffee.
I should have said, tell me if you smell anything and what is it? That's what I should have said.
I do smell something and it was coffee. Should I keep my eyes closed?
Now, for the cranial nerves that you do during HENT, you won't be doing it during this exam. So what I want you to do is to verbalize that you have done cranial nerves 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10 during that HENT exam. And then on the written portion, I want you to say that what I just said, cranial nerve 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10, and I'm sorry, and 12 have been done during the HENT exam. That should be documented. Nothing more is needed, nothing, but just make sure you include that. That is on the checklist. Okay, so now we're going to do cranial nerve number 5. And so I'm going to use a soft stimulus, and I'm going to be checking the three divisions. You have to do the 3 divisions: ophthalmic, maxillary, and mandibular. And what all you have to do is one spot bilaterally in each division. So the thing is, it's supposed to be very, very soft. This is what I'm going to be touching you with, so you shouldn't worry that I'm not going to hurt you. And okay, could you please close your eyes? So let me stand to the side. I'm going to touch this part of the forehead. Did you feel that?
Yep.
Does it feel the same?
Yep. Felt that. Felt that. The same.
So on the beard, sometimes if you're touching the hairs, that's kind of going to throw up.
My hair's going to feel.
Yeah, it's sensitive. So and then okay, just feel the same on both sides. Okay. So then what you have to write is that the ophthalmic, the maxillary, and mandibular divisions of cranial nerve 5 are intact to soft touch bilaterally. If you were test for our purposes, we're only going to do the soft touch on the face, but in real life you may do the pin, so you would add that test to this in the same places that you just did the soft touch, and you would say, write that these cranial nerve 5 is intact, and the ophthalmic, maxillary, mandibular divisions to soft touch and pin or pain is intact and symmetrical, and that's what we have to write. So, okay. The next part of cranial nerve 5 is motor. So I'm going to be testing the temporalis muscle and the maxillary muscle. So I'm going to say clench your jaw. Now for the maxillary, move your jaw from side to side. So the temporalis and maxillary muscles are intact bilaterally. This would, in real life, a good place to do this at the same time of HENT when you're checking for the crepitus of the TMJs. So you might do that all at that particular time. In the final, you might want to incorporate it over there to kind of keep things flowing smoothly. Okay, and so now for the cranial nerve 7, that's mostly we're checking. We're not going to be checking taste. We're not checking anything except for the motor portion of cranial nerve 7. because there's multiple, there's sensory, there's the lacrimal, there's all the salivary, there's all the different parts of cranial nerve 7. All we're testing for a checklist is the motor. So I'd like you to give me a big smile. Show me your teeth. Good. Maybe lift up your brows like you're surprised. Very good. Okay, and puff out your cheeks. Okay, and pucker your lips. If you want, you can say, just do what I do, and have the person just mimic what you're doing if you don't want to have to say it. And now I want you to close your eyes as tightly as you can. I'm going to try to open them. Don't let me. And so, okay. Cranial nerve 7 is symmetrical and intact. So now we're going to go to cranial nerve 11, which is the accessory cranial nerve. That's the accessory nerve, and there's two parts to it. It's the sternocleidomastoid, and then there's the trapezius. Do you do that in your musculoskeletal?
As far as the actual strength testing, no.
No. Okay.
Just pressing on the muscles, but nothing with
Okay.
like.
I just want to make. I just wasn't sure. I wasn't 100% sure. Okay. So what we're going to do, we're not going to do the sternocleidomastoid because, for one thing, in older people who have neck problems, that could exacerbate a neck issue. So we're just going to be testing the trapezius, and I'd like you to shrug your shoulders against my hands. Okay. The cranial nerve 11 is intact, 5/5, and bilaterally. Okay, so at this point we have, oops, sorry, so at this point we have, we're going to go into the cerebellar testing, and one of the things we start with is rapid alternating movement. And so you can ask the patient to do what I do. I'm going to be flipping my hands back and forth on my lap, and I'd like you to copy what I do, and do it as quickly as you can. Rapid alternating movements
Not that good, sorry.
are intact. There's no dysdiadochokinesis, which is a medical term for that. You can also ask the person to touch each finger to their thumb as quickly as they can, whichever one you like better.
We did that in yours too, didn't we?
Yes. Now, what I did is I didn't. I was requiring them to do the opposition because they had to go thumbs up, thumbs
Right,
down, thumbs
right.
across, opposition.
Right.
So what I did is I had that in there as well,
Okay.
which will work for you guys.
This will work right. Right. It'll work well.
It'll go right on.
We're not doing this, but it's also done on the lower extremities. You ask the person to tap their foot as quickly as they possibly can, and then they'll, both feet. Usually the lower extremities are not as accurate, as smooth, and as quick as the upper extremities. So, just be aware that it's not going to be the same as the upper extremities. Okay, the next thing that we do for cerebellar is the finger to nose, and okay, so I have to stand in front of him. Maybe stay to the side. Yeah, stays. But this can be done sitting. It doesn't have to be done standing. Okay, so I'd like you to touch your nose and then touch my finger as I move it. Okay. And my instructions were not good enough. I'd like you to stretch your arm out. I'm gonna. Okay. So now, touch your nose and touch my finger. Touch your nose, touch my finger. Okay. So what? Touch your nose. Touch my finger. Okay. Yeah, so you have to do it with, you want to do it with your left hand, please? I want to stretch it out a little further.
I'll play with my son tonight.
The point is you want the person to stretch out their arm. You want to stand just so that they can touch you far enough away so they really have to stretch out their arm. The reason for that is when you keep your arm close to your body, you have more control over it, and if there's any abnormalities, you won't pick it up. So you want them to really stretch it out, then you can see if they have any kinds of tremors or abnormal movements. Cerebellar problems, patients will go like kind of like that. Patients who have action or intention tremors will just go sort of like that, so more fine movement. So, and you want them to stretch it out because otherwise you won't pick up abnormalities. Okay, so basically you don't have to do more than 3 points. So you can start out right directly in front, and one to if each hand, 3 points with each hand. Okay, so okay, now okay, the heel to shin in your lower extremities. I'd like you to copy what I do, please, or you can tell them exactly. Take your heel and run it down your shin, and then back up. Okay, and then the same thing on the other side. Okay, usually, patients who have a problem, there's cerebellum problems, will go like kind of like that up and down their shin. It'll be really very jerky kind of movement. Right. Okay, so actually that should have come actually after, I'm sorry, should have come directly after rapid alternating movements. And then Romberg, could you please stand? This usually I say for the end, because usually I have the person sitting. But we're going to do it at this point. No. During the exam, I do the exam either sitting or lying down, depending on what's wrong with the patient. If they're really, have significant neurological problems, I may do things lying down. So I'd like you to put your feet together, please. Okay, and stand like that. And you now now I'd like you to close your eyes, and you should put your arms during the exam. Put your arms in front and in back of the person to show that you are ready to catch them if they should fall, if they have a problem. So you should stand like that. Okay. When you're doing the Romberg, now can you stretch your arms out in front of you, straight out in front of you, and palms up. Okay. And now we're doing the pronator drift. Pronator drift is negative, Romberg is negative. Thank you. So I'm going to do, even though it's out of sequence, I'm going to do deep tendon reflexes next. So what we're going to start with is we're going to start with the radialis, which would be C5 and C6, and I feel for the tendon, and you're not relaxed. Let me just, okay, and I usually put my finger on top of it. I don't hit the person, I hit my finger that's on top of the tendon. And I think most people do that, I don't think anybody. Okay. That's intact, and you should go from one side to the other. Okay, so I'm gonna, you're helping me too much.
I'm trying to relax.
Chris, this isn't, he looked nervous. This isn't one of those ones where your knee jerks way up. It's, in fact, that's another reason that a lot of times you put your finger on it, because you'll see the little jerk that you do, but some people it's subtle.
Sometimes you can feel it,
and you'll feel it jump.
Feel it jump and not actually see it jump.
Yeah, so
right.
it depends.
Right. Now for the triceps, that you do right above, you feel right above the elbow, there's like a little bit of an indentation. It's sort of like a funny, what you would call the funny bone in lay terms, and then you would hit that. And if that's, then there's other ways of, I didn't feel it at all, but if I can have your arm. Okay, so let it hang on my arm, let it.
Dead weight.
Dead weight, yeah.
I'm trying.
Okay, that one.
I got it.
Yeah. Okay, and then on the other side, you may want to just try, since I had difficulty with the arm down, I'm going to try it again with the arm like this, and dead weight, that's good.